You're on.
All right, it's Monday, October 16th, 9:30, Selectmen's meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, first up on the agenda is Jeff Newcomb for public input. He has questions. And we have the road agent here who can probably answer those questions.
Be very
And
quick.
we have another troublemaker with him.
Oh, well, say you're a troublemaker.
This will be very quick. Shouldn't be a big deal. Thank you for doing the road on Shirley Way. I have a couple of questions from other people from the neighborhood. So Bill and Gina at number 4, wondering if they can get the swale done between their front door and their driveway that didn't get done.
I can look at it.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure what we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm
That's
guessing
fine.
it's on the road edge.
Yeah, it's one of your guys said he couldn't do it because they came in and paved. He can't bring the equipment back, but he was supposed to do that, but he couldn't get to it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right, so he's aware of it then. Okay.
He is, but he said he couldn't do it because can't bring the equipment
Well,
back.
that's when the pavement was hot.
Okay.
You don't do it for, you gotta let it set for a while.
And they wanted to know why that section of the road was cut out in front of their house and then redone. It was like a 20-foot section there.
Yep. It's because it was thin.
Oh.
I looked at it and I called them up and I said, there's only an inch of pavement there. I mean,
Can I jump in right here? To the left of Kitty Hammond's driveway, if you come out of Kitty's driveway and go left like you're coming toward up Shirley Way, that area's pretty thin too. I walk it every morning, really thin.
okay, I'll take a look at
Yeah,
it.
just FYI.
So they did correct it.
Yeah, okay. When will they do the gravel on the sides? Do you know?
They said it would be in November. They're still trying to get as much paving done as possible. So
Okay.
They said they'll be back in November.
Okay, and is the plan for next year to do the top coat and finish Chandler?
So I'm assuming that the selectmen will probably choose to do the top coat,
Okay,
but we have not really discussed any more than that at this point, so.
finishing Chandler?
We haven't talked about it yet.
Okay, all right. The great news is the road is beautiful. The bad news is everybody's going like hell. Can we put a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit on going up the hill on Shirley? Is that possible?
I think it's possible. I think there must have been one there at one point in time,
Yeah.
but I don't see it anymore. But whenever there's a speed limit that's lower than the rest of the town, I think the selectmen are supposed to actually talk about that and agree to it.
Isn't there, if there's not a sign posted on a road like that, isn't it automatically at 25?
No, there's 2
Okay.
speed limits in town.
Okay.
Dirt roads are 25, paved roads are 35. Oof. So when yours went from dirt to pave,
Yeah, well, even 25,
Is it possible, Bob, to put a 25? Because I mean, my house is the closest, as is the Lessards, as is Kitty's, and they're coming down that.
oh yeah, I walk that every morning and it's up.
They're crazy.
Yeah,
same thing happened on Dame Road.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now, do you guys remember there being a sign that said 25 at one point?
No,
I don't,
not in my 17 years there.
yeah.
Okay. I thought
You
that
think
might
we ought to run this by the police chief?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Consider it a work in progress.
Yeah. I have one other
It's
question,
reasonable.
if you're done.
I'm done.
Okay, one other question concerning, roads for, going on and having like a set plan, we talked about this last time, like a rhythm as to when the roads get done versus just waiting until they're, like Shirley Way was, almost a dirt road again. I know, our road agent had said that he wasn't the road agent at the time and it didn't get top coated. However, I would think, this just me with common sense, when a new road agent comes in and an old road agent is leaving, is there any notes that, like, because again, Shirley Way should have been top coated the year that this gentleman became the road agent, yet it wasn't. So is there a pass on of information?
I can say that with no reservation that there was very little of that, if any.
So, but as a taxpayer and as you guys are all taxpayers, I'm sure.
Yes?
Wouldn't it be to our advantage to have like a note system so that when a new road agent comes on, he gets handed this, like, these are the things, top things that need to be done?
Going forward, I would say yes. However, when the previous road agent just quit, it made it a little tough.
Okay, so then this is something that we've done in the past, you've done in the past. Yet because of that situation, he didn't get
Well,
word
he's been the
that.
road agent for 15 years, so.
Right, but.
Been a while.
Right, but the year after the other road agent quit, or whatever, and he came on, that was the year that Shirley Way should have been top coated, but never was. And the road, I feel, maybe I'm wrong, because sometimes I am, it would have lasted longer and not disintegrated to the point that it disintegrated if it had been top coated.
Wasn't it a private road at that time?
No.
No,
No.
I think it just become,
no, it was paved, I moved in 2008 was the year it was paved, or 2007. I started building the house in 2006, but I moved in March of 2008, so 2007 it was paved, completely.
Going forward, I'm sure we can accommodate that kind of a turnover, should it happen.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, anyway.
Yeah, mine too.
well,
I'll
we
keep
have,
an eye on it.
we have better system in place than we had back then too.
Mhm.
Right, but we're still annually budgeting, we still have election, we have an elected road agent, we have elected selectmen.
Okay.
The decision to pave any road may come and go like Shirley Way did. I mean, the calculations that the selectmen and the budget committee have to make about what we're gonna charge for taxes determines how much money we're gonna spend on paving and other things.
Mhm.
And some years you just don't have the capital to do it. And actually, I don't think it's legal for this board of selectmen or any board of selectmen to contractually obligate a future board. So you're always working the annual budgeting system. So,
Doesn't it cost more though for the town if you just let it go to complete? Or not? I don't know. I'm not a road paver or a road
theoretically,
agent.
it might, but the problem is that, you know, I need to satisfy your needs to have a reasonable tax rate, what we do.
Mhm.
That's more important at some point in time than the length of life of your pavement. I mean, those are the things that boards of selectmen have to think about. So maybe it does cost more in the future, but maybe that's a selectman or board of selectmen that I'm not a member of, and I don't have to take the heat for upping the taxes. I mean, that's the system of working. It's probably not the most logical way to do things, but.
Well, also, as you're aware, we did create a separate article for neighborhood roads, and yours is one of them. Tupac Lane is another, Mill Pond Drive up in Melbourne, these kind of things. This is all in an effort to try to implement the schedule that the Lakes Region Planning Commission presented us with, which also means that yearly we're gonna up the budget a little bit. Unfortunately, if we follow that plan, asphalt prices and labor have gone so sky high that it doesn't always work perfectly.
Right.
But we certainly are aware of your concerns. Obviously, you get your road work done, so. And again, to the speed, the better you make a road, the faster people are gonna drive. But we can talk to the police chief and get his input on that for sure. I think it's possible. Whether it's going to happen or not, I can't say at this moment, but we'll certainly take that under advisement and work towards getting you something. Because I understand, I lived on Sodom Road when it was dirt, and the minute it was paved, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your concern, your guys' concern is only Shirley Way.
Right.
That's all you guys
Oh,
care
no,
about.
I know.
we care about it
We
all,
have all of the
honestly.
roads to deal with.
Right,
and-
no,
and
we
it'd be so
do.
nice to do them all in one year, but we can't.
This gentleman actually posted something on Facebook about the pavement chunks everywhere, and he literally got attacked by the town, like, you know, you people on Shirley Way are so special, they're there 2 years in a row. I'm like, wait a minute, they're here 2 years in a row because we only had a half mile of Shirley Way done.
Right.
They gotta do the other half mile next year, so, and again, I understand all that.
Well, I-
But there's a lot of people out there that are really testing, it, that aren't happy with this road situation in this
Good
town.
reason not to.
And I interject there, since this all started a couple of years ago, I've been advocating not just for Shirley Way. I want to
Right,
make that very
right,
clear.
we care about
I've
them
been
all.
advocating for Tupac, and I've been
Yeah,
advocating
yeah.
for Baxter Woods, and I've been, and somebody attacked me on the
Yeah.
Facebook about that, and I said, if you go back to the meetings, I've been advocating for every
Yeah,
neighborhood.
and that's why that
So-
rhythm, I feel, is important, that we jump from this road and now this road, and just get this rhythm going so that we kinda have,
That's our intent.
yeah.
However, it's slow
Oh,
down.
nothing's perfect, I agree.
On another note, did the chunks of asphalt get removed?
No, some of it,
Not all, that was, I forgot to bring that up.
yeah,
When they
no,
did-
we still have
when they-
chunks this big.
When they do the, I don't know if that's your thing or the road people, but somebody cleaned up a fair amount, but
Lloyd.
there's still some left. That would be
Okay, well, I'm
great.
sure before plowing that ought to be done.
Well, I think also somebody's going around and digging up the stuff too that was covered, which is also part of the base, you know, when you have that. I've noticed
Well,
that
it's just
people are
un-
pulling it, they're finding it, pulling it up from the.
This stuff, the stuff that I see is way out on
It's
the
out.
edges, just.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's not, yeah.
yeah.
Well, I'm sure when you go over to check that swale, you'll be able to.
There's some in front of my house. I mean, it's not a lot, but
There's a great big
there's
chunk in
chunks.
front of the Barneys, it's gotta be this
Yeah.
big.
Yeah, there's some left. They did clean up some, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that. So thank you, that's all I had. Thanks a lot,
All
guys.
right,
Thanks for your
Appreciate
input.
it.
Have a good day.
You too.
next up, we have our building inspector and his report and his budget presentation. Oh, excuse me, I lied. I'm supposed to do minutes.
Oh, next up.
All right, first up is Monday, September 25. I've read them, I see nothing that jumps out as being wrong or needs correction.
No, just a simple, right under appointments, get an extra 0 at 4:30 at the end of that paragraph. But I would like to make a note that, if, and I don't see it in these minutes, and last week, I had made a motion on a budget item, and it didn't get seconded, it failed. We should be making notes of those actions as well, not just the ones that are approved.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
So, all in favor? Aye. All right, next we have non-public, September 25.
I'll move that we accept these minutes and they remain sealed.
Second,
Um, I'm sorry. I'm not certain they need to be sealed, but we can vote on that as well at the end.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Friday, October 6th. Seems fine to me. I'll take a motion.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. All right, now we can have our
There you go.
codes officer come up. Get right into it.
You're gonna do first.
Let's do your monthly report first.
All right, so it's 104 building permits, 31 new homes. I've done 615 inspections. I have a question. I watched one of the meetings online that you had about Wharf Road. I'm just curious if you've taken into consideration that if it goes through the winter, we need still need power for the bumpers at the end.
Oh,
It's gonna be digging
not
it
Wharf
out.
Road, Union Wharf.
Union
so-
Wharf, I'm sorry, yeah.
Certainly,
So that's all. Just might have to bring temporary power out there to dig it all up.
Right.
To the pipe, so. And then I brought this up to Guy earlier. We were issue on Sentinel Road. So someone bought a piece of property at the end of it, and they are improving Sentinel Road, but they dug it out, put a lot of ditches in it, and ditches off to the side, and it's starting to wash out the neighbor's property. Big time.
Well, we have
all
a
the
road
way
agent
down.
here, before
Right.
anybody does road work on a class 6 road, they need to get a permit.
Right, I know they came in, they said they, you allowed them to improve it so they could go on it, but
Yeah, in that allowing, we said it had to be in conjunction with a road agent.
Yeah.
I remember
I
the
just got a complaint,
conversation.
so I went up and looked at it, so.
They did talk to me that they were, ahead of time, that they were gonna try to fix some of the problem with the drainage. And that was basically the intent that they had.
Yes, they put 3 or 4 cutouts on going up the hill on the left-hand side, so it's going down all the way to Dave Judas.
Um,
A lot of water coming off it, so he's the one that called me, so there's a lot of stuff coming off there. It's actually, so to get to his, it's going through Palmerston's, all that, so. Just need
So you need to
rest.
take a drive up.
Yeah, I guess I need to look at that. I
Take a
don't know
look
if you
at
wanna
it.
look at it together or.
Yeah, that's
I mean, if
fine.
it's that big a problem, they need to engineer their,
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah, because a lot of times when they smoothed it out, took some of the knolls out of it, some of the sides are 4 feet high now.
Well,
It's been dug.
according to our policy, it says that before beginning any work within the limits of a Class 6 road, the applicant must receive a written permit from the Board of Selectmen pursuant to RSA 236:9-11. I know of no such written permit, do you? That being the case, subject to penalties provided by 236:14 for failure to secure or comply with the terms of said permit. So there is an enforcement clause, so to speak, in our regulations.
And the other permit that would be involved in that would be when he gets a building permit, he need a road release, which hasn't been done yet either, so there's no building been going on, but.
so I mean, I'm just recalling because he was so upset about his cameras.
I am?
No.
Oh,
He was.
oh, he,
I haven't confronted your cameras yet, but that I think we just did a verbal, he said he wanted to fix the road so he could get in there, and that's kind of a minor repair, I think, in my mind anyway.
well, what,
But if you wanna re-engineer the road, you need to engineer the road.
There's a difference between grading and construction.
Right.
we'll have Jack in the
I
road.
mean, it's not perfect, it's not perfect grade, there's still all kinds of bumps and all that and humps, but a lot of the water that used to go down the side of the road and actually wash out the road, kind of stayed on the road and kind of went off where it went, but now it's kind of directed to go off.
Right, but if he's directing.
Right.
It's impacting someone else's
It's-
property, we're gonna
It's
get
still
trouble.
a town road.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
We'll see.
Tell me.
If you guys wanna get together with that and see what you can do, that'd be great.
Yep.
All right, now we can look at Jack's budget, which he's presenting to us today.
So I got a new top number today from Audrey, because I didn't have this chart.
All right,
You know, I
so
had
the
this
new
chart.
top number is,
Well, I got it, it matches yours now, mine was different.
okay, I didn't write mine down. Would you please give us that number?
Well, it's the same one you have, 75,694.
Okay,
And that's, let's just start there. That's based on what? Are we going a step? Is that?
Well, I'm out of steps in the line I was, so I already went to a different line, I guess.
Okay.
Chip, you'll see this one circled. If you run those numbers,
The 4321?
yeah, if you run those numbers, you're gonna get very close to the
And where,
budget request.
where were you before, Jack? The
I was 17 the end, but that's different because that's
It's got a new
this year,
COLA.
not last year's.
Right.
So 17,
Or 1715, I think it is, that's the end.
so that would be, God, I need a piece of paper.
Right.
And I didn't have that new form, so.
4159.
So if you go the number that I circled,
Yeah, I see it.
you
So
can,
we've gone 2 lines down.
right. It's the only way to get him so he's not at the end of another one, or worse.
I didn't think I had changed the step at all. I thought this just was the 3% COLA.
That is, the chart is,
Oh, okay.
his request is different. The next one up puts it over the number. It's kind of in the middle.
My math says it puts it over the number by about $20.
Yeah, I didn't go a step higher, I just did the 3%.
That's what it looks like, that looks like 3%.
Well, 3% is not gonna be 75,694, it's 71 something.
No.
What did my number come out to, Chip?
No, you take that number
Yeah,
and add 3% to it, you come up with that.
That's what I had originally.
oh, I was taking that, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I had that number originally, then I got this number from Audrey.
So I mean, it's off by $18.
The 677 is what I had originally, but then I got this new form from Audrey.
So what happens is because the way the chart works, it's 2% one way and then adding 3%. Eventually it changes the pennies at the end. You have so many percentages rounding up. So my number is based on the chart, not a direct 3%.
And it's probably easier to keep track of
Yeah,
from the chart.
yeah, because otherwise I'm gonna have an hourly amount that's nowhere on the
Yeah.
chart, and next year I'm gonna be,
Yeah.
where did this come from?
I guess.
Sounds fine to me.
So, we want
Okay.
to approve the salary at 75,694.
Yes.
I don't have the whole budget
Okay.
in front of me.
Postage is
Which is the
flat.
same,
Fuel's
it
going up.
fuels up a lot,
Yeah.
I'm over, and it's gonna still be more. I was gonna raise it last year, but you didn't want to revisit the budget, so it didn't get raised. Vehicle maintenance is, I'm gonna leave it alone as it is, we'll use that to offset the fuel, which should take care of that. The telephone, Adam said add $5 a month till I did it, and then when it went away, it was to put a international plan on my phone, they put the wrong one on it, so it got all screwed up, so that money's gonna come out of this budget, but the total budget should be fine for that.
So the 695 should accommodate for real charges, is that what?
Yeah, it should be regular charges next year, because Adam thinks it's gonna go up $5 a month. That's what that was, that's the increase for that. And the rest of them are the same.
Everything else is level.
Yeah.
Remove
And
that,
my
accept
dues
the
are,
budget
my
as
dues
presented.
are up still because they don't pay the dues until the end of the year for next year.
So you move to accept the budget
As presented,
in the amount of $80,639.
correct.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Next up is our highway agent, superintendent, road agent, booking post, whatever you want to call it.
Thank you.
His monthly update. Before we get into this, I'd like to let my fellow selectmen know that I've had a report from a fellow who uses Tuftonboro Neck Road intensively and thinks that a wonderful job has been done now. Congratulations.
That's not done though, is it? Is
No,
that-
but what has been done is well,
Yeah.
very well.
We've only done half of that road now.
Correct, yeah, we have half completed, minus the gravel on the shoulders so far, but. yes. All right, well, since our last meeting, all three roads that we had planned to pave, Tuftonboro Neck, Federal Corners, and Shirley Way, prep work's been done and the paving has been completed. The gravel shoulders still need to be done, which I was told November, and we gravelled edges in front of the dirt driveways already, going around doing that, which we normally do, since we have to wait for the rest of the road to be gravelled. We are still fixing the smaller washouts on road edges, they're everywhere. But we did the big ones in the beginning of the year, like the biggest ones first, and then we hopped on getting ready for road building. The budget committee and the CIP came to the town garage, and so as well as one of the selectmen. And we went over the facility and the problem about the garage being too short when the trucks have the plows on them. Several ideas were discussed, and they agreed something should be done. I'm wondering, what is the correct procedure about moving forward to?
I think you just come up with a design and a budget.
Okay, so I come up with the design?
Well, since it's you, so to speak, and your people using the building, it'd be nice if it fit your needs, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just didn't know if there's a procedure that, you know, does it have to go in front of somebody that does the design work themselves?
Well, you're talking about a pole barn that got turned into a parking garage, basically. And we know it was built to accommodate 6-wheelers, and now we're using 10-wheelers, so obviously it's smaller. It's been discussed, and I've looked at it, to just lengthen the building out the back, which would help. Any of the builders in town can give you an idea, for sure. Some kind of, even a thumbnail sketch. And of course, it's gonna have to take a warrant article,
Yes.
which then it would need to come before us. Jack can help you with that quite a bit, I'm sure, as far as getting everything together goes. What would work and what won't. You're gonna have to extend the concrete floor, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So there'll be some dirt work that has to be done. Pretty much, you know, we need an idea,
Okay, okay.
what you think is gonna be adequate. 10 feet, 20 feet, double the size of the building. I mean, you gotta think about this a lot.
Yeah, so, you know, currently, we have the 3-bay garage
Mhm.
up front, and then we have a small section in the back. And one of the ideas that everybody talked about was knocking this down and just making it this width. And I don't know if that's,
Seems to make sense, it's certainly feasible.
It's as simple as 3 walls and a roof.
and it also, yeah, correct, because I think if you're trying to build off of that, the roof line was so much lower that it didn't make sense.
It won't work.
And this would probably accommodate us for, you know, for a long time. You know, we'll probably get another 40 years out of it, I would think, that if you could keep it a square box so that you can bring stuff in and out without
Right.
the walls that are right here. That's what's limiting us.
Right, you're shoehorning, literally shoehorning, those 2 trucks in there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like if you gotta put one in first before you can put the second one in. And this one has to come back out before this can come back out. It's,
And when that building was built and even added onto, we didn't have the big trucks.
no, we had 6 ones.
And the reason they have to move them out like that is because, are the doors too small? I mean, what's the problem?
Right now,
You have 2 trucks side by each,
oh,
and you can't go out the door,
so,
or you only have one door.
so you have to put this, no, there's 3 doors. But you have to put the plow up against this wall, has to physically touch the wall.
Mhm.
And then you have a 1/2 inch of gap behind the truck when you close the door. So you need to be out of the truck and on this side before you
Oh, I
close
see
the
what
door.
you're saying. It's the
And
person.
then this plow, to make it so you can walk through here, you have to put it behind the other plow, so that you can walk. It leaves you about 15, 18 inches of room to get by. And you have to put it at that angle, which is now behind the first plow.
I got it, okay.
It's just extremely tight. And, yeah, we have to remove everything. You know, we normally keep our tools, hand tools all hang up on this wall. We have to remove all those for the winter and stuff like that. You know, originally we talked about just making this bigger, but the roof line doesn't really make sense that way.
It's also gonna increase the need for more heat.
And you know, I met with CIP, so we had the idea of doing a new heating system in the future. I think that should all be wrapped up in one.
Yeah.
But figure out the heating system for the whole thing. A lot of moving parts, you know, but the basic idea is simple. I don't know about the heating system and stuff like that. That's past my ability, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big project really, you're only talking about pouring some cement, throwing up some walls and putting some trusses up.
yep.
Because you're not putting doors on the other end, you don't need a drive-through or.
You know, there is one walkout door right here, so it might be good just to continue to have that, but just move it
Right,
over
I
here.
mean, as far as the trucks are concerned, you're not.
Yeah, you don't need overhead doors.
Yeah.
You got enough of those.
Yep,
And I would, as far as the heat is concerned, it's not that, I would, you know, those 2 heaters that you have here, one here, here,
Yep.
and here, I would do one long one on the back. That's just my humble opinion.
Okay, I mean, I'm certainly open for whatever. I was almost wondering if you just keep those two.
Yeah, no, keep those two there.
Keep them right there and then
Yeah.
just have.
Add that one.
Do one long, one in the back,
Okay,
because you can get them
or,
long.
you know, I had also talked about the idea, could this section be the, radiant heat that goes on the floor?
You're not
on the
gonna-
concrete?
You're not gonna thaw out anything in the back of your truck rapidly doing that.
No, but we'd still have those two
Mhm.
heaters up front, and then this would be a consistently warm floor.
It's a lot more money to install.
As far as the heater part of it, because I've done the tubes, I've done the insulation in tubes, I've
So have I.
installed that.
So,
That goes quick and easy. You know, and I could even, again, do that, but I don't know the heater part. I know we have to make a manifold for them to
You just
exist.
come up with a proposal,
Okay.
come up with what you want,
You'd have to have an
insulated slab.
insulated barrier between the other slab and the new slab too.
Mhm.
Because if you don't, you're just heating
Heat
one slab up
migrate.
so the heat can migrate into the other one, and it's not really
Okay, so then you'd have to put insulation there, which will create a little bit of a gap problem.
Mhm.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
And how's your truck, by the way? Is it back? You got a problem with it?
Oh, yeah, so when they did the body, the rear body, they did something where they connected some wires together that didn't make it right, so we couldn't use the Jake brake unless it was a,
You were going
oh,
uphill?
you had to have the, no, you had to have the, it was a switch, what was that? Oh, so there's a switch to run the PTO, which I was told, and he agreed, leave that switch on all the time. Because when you, on and off, it's not good for it. And so, you know, we left it on, like I've been doing for the last, 8 years. And if we had switched that off, then it would have worked. So there was just a wiring.
Wired
Yeah,
together?
yeah, they screwed up the wiring somehow. Easy fix, we got it back, it works well now.
Good.
Yep.
We also discussed your propane tanks.
So you got 4 now?
You've got 4. What are those?
150.
100 pounds,
100 pounders, no,
No,
200
250.
pounders, 150 gallons,
Yeah.
whatever they are. And during the cold January, February, he has to have those filled up weekly, right?
They come every week, and if they miss, we run out.
Right. So it'd be a good idea to have
Bigger tank.
one large tank, 1,000, 2,000 gallons.
Okay, perfect.
Right, well, that would be in conjunction with getting the building extended and getting the new heat system put
That'd be a
in.
good time to do it.
That'd be the absolute best, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would. And I would also recommend purchasing the tank so that we could have different
Switch
suppliers.
fenders, yeah.
Mhm. Right, because when the town makes a deal for propane, for example, with a vendor, it would be included and it could save possibly hundreds or if not thousands of dollars.
We don't know who that vendor's gonna be from year to year.
Right.
Currently, when they switch vendors, they come and remove all those tanks and they put new ones in.
They're not gonna do that with the big tank.
No. All right. Anything else for Jim?
Oh, yeah, transfer station, that, the drain, that, did you give the, transfer station superintendent an estimate to do that, to fix it?
I didn't give them an estimate, I just assumed that are we gonna do it? Fill it with concrete like we talked about?
Well, we sent him, I think we instructed him to ask to get pricing,
Oh,
did
okay.
we not?
Yeah, I don't think you can fill that with concrete and be happy. What are you gonna create a lake? And it has to be
Oh,
drainage.
no.
No,
So-
it's around the outside to lift it up.
So what's happening is, you know, we have the catch basin, and that's fine. It's on the outside edge, just keeps dropping. We fixed it once before. We put some filter fabric in there, put some gravel in there, and then we put cold patch around it. And it did work for probably, I don't know, 6, 7 years. But now I'm just wondering if it makes sense to cut that pavement out again and just fill that hole with concrete and then put the coal patch to the top of it again. That way it shouldn't settle, but I guess we don't know. We don't know why it's leaking. It's going somewhere, obviously.
Well, something underneath is settling.
Yeah, well, it's all
Years
filled
of
with
trash.
No, it's gonna be trash, because there was no landfill there, but it's all filled land that they built on, so.
Oh, you're right, the landfill was further in, wasn't it?
Right.
So you take the whole thing out, I mean, dig a big hole, take the
Catch basin.
catch basin apart,
I don't want to deal with
Sack
that.
it well, I mean,
It's
It
pretty big,
doesn't-
that thing's deep. I think that,
how deep is it?
Oh, 6-8 inches?
oh, no, the catch basin itself's
Oh,
probably
itself.
10 feet deep.
Yeah,
It's deep. Not that we can't do it,
so
but
it doesn't have an exit drain, it just,
it does, has a culvert that drains from there.
okay.
Yep. I mean, it can be removed, it just seems like a bigger project than it needs to be. but-
Well, it's either that or we fix it every 5 years, I mean, that's not generally the way we should operate, I don't think, but. it's-
Well, I don't think the whole catch basin is sinking, it's just the edge on one side.
Right, because it has to support all that truck weight when they pull out containers full of stuff, and, I mean, it's not as if it's just sitting out in the side of a road somewhere. So,
No, I feel like the water's somehow getting between there and the material's going out, probably. It's either going into the catch basin or it's going in the culvert, and maybe that's possibly the problem.
Do you think you could fix that this year,
Yep,
before the snow flies?
yeah.
Do you have any idea how much it would cost? And
We don't know exactly what we're doing yet, you know what I mean? We gotta cut
Right.
that out and see if we can dig down there and find out where that material's going.
right,
You know, without seeing where the material's going, it's,
right.
And then do we have money in the budget to fix it this year?
Well, I think the transfer station has money in the budget, but the highway department doesn't.
Right.
Have you gotten any money from your grants that we've, or
So-
recovery money?
so that, Adam Thompson handles that part of it, but, I'm not aware of anything yet. I think there's still ways to go, from what it sounds like, from last time. I
Looking at our recently updated budget report, I can't tell if there's any money left in the transfer station maintenance or not, to be honest with you. So, fix it.
Okay. So,
Yeah, we can't plow around it, can't drive over it, so we need to do something. But I try to go as deep as you possibly can.
no, I mean, I can remove it if we need to, but I hope that's not the case. That turns into a big project at that point.
You know, you're gonna end up with 6 feet of frost in there this winter, because that's what happens on a paved road, so let's at least get to a point where we've got really solid ground,
Okay,
you know, to
We'll
pack
take-
something on top of.
we'll cut it apart and see what we have. It's step one.
It's inappropriate.
So we cut it and see what's in there, we don't know.
Right.
Exploratory surgery.
Yep.
And we've been given a grant from somebody for Canaan Valley Road, is that USDA?
I believe so.
So I'm still not clear
I'm not either.
where that number comes from. But, and this is just for discussion purposes, it appears to be somewhere in the vicinity of $800,000 to repair the drainage on Canaan Road. That to me sounds like an awful lot of money, but there's an awful lot of water coming off those mountains as well, so maybe it's increasing the size of culverts and that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's a lot more money than I would have guessed, for sure.
Yeah, and so my thinking is that we, although they are reluctant to come down, we need to get our engineers down here to tell us what it is they've designed. But in addition to that, I don't think adding $800,000 worth of work to your annual work is gonna,
No,
I think we need to put this out.
I agree 100%.
And once we figure out exactly what's supposed to be done,
Yeah,
we can put it out to bid then.
right.
Where did this estimate come from?
Well, it's gonna have to come from,
HEB.
HEB.
HEB. They estimated it originally, I mean, that's how somebody came up with that number from somewhere. So now we need to know what that
what it entails.
entails.
Yes, full detail of it.
So originally, when I met with HEB, we were actually a couple of young guys. I thought I was showing them because I wasn't aware of how this whole thing got started. I was just told, hey, you gotta meet with HEB, engineers coming out, and you gotta show them the problem areas.
Right.
So I did. I was really hoping that we were gonna go up to Ledge Hill Road and talk about catch basins and proper drainage going down that hill.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this doesn't meet the requirement.
Well, 800 grand spent on Ledge Hill Road makes a lot more sense
I agree.
from my point of view. I mean, you've got, not that I live there, and I do, but you've just got so much more road. And,
So we talked about all the other areas that we've had problems with.
right,
So I showed them the area that we've had a problem with. And somehow they got focused on Canaan, which in my mind wasn't as important as some of the other roads, you know?
yeah,
Like Solid Road being a problem and, you know, where we've had a lot of overtopping. It has overtopped there before on Canaan, but it's not the frequent problem that we have on some of the other roads. So,
And not that the residents down in Canaan Valley are any less important than the residents in the rest of the town, but Ledge Hill Road is a major throughway.
yes.
yeah. I mean, for 800 grand on Canaan Road, I'm thinking we need to start talking about a vote to change the class 6 at the end to a class 5 and just go out to Ossipee. I mean, there's plenty of money to rebuild that whole thing for that.
Well,
And it's more than your annual road budget for Christ's sake.
it is. I just don't know when you get a grant like that, how that works. Is that focused on just one
I don't either, so,
area, or is that focused on the whole length of the road?
We gotta get HEB in here to tell us what's going on, that's all there is to it.
and then we gotta.
Get them here.
Buy some equipment and make a little money next year. You can't do that, can we?
Now, I'm sure that there's, if we could do the whole road with that money, now that makes more sense, because there are some sections that need some
Right.
more drainage. I'll see up further where the road is dirt. I hope that's not focused on one culvert, but it doesn't make sense that it could be.
Right. And lastly, highways and streets. I realize it's, it doesn't feel like we're getting close to November, but we are. So how's your budget coming?
I just need to talk to Cammy and Audrey a little bit more. I need a little more information. You know, as we all know, nobody can predict the weather, so we're guessing a little bit. But the things that we do know is, it looks like salt has gone up and sand has gone up. And I don't know if we're trying to accommodate for that, or what we have in mind for that, but, I mean, the whole thing's a guess, we don't know, but what's gonna happen for snow purposes, but some things have gone up.
So we want to limit our constraints on the purchase of the Carlton property. I mean, depending on how much sand has gone up.
Well, we have
Maybe
a,
we need a sand pit.
we have a discussion coming up, it should be almost now, but we're behind schedule, about the Carlton property, so.
And now I have gone up there in the past and I did look at that property with Mike to see if we found the coarse sand that we're looking for. It's good sand, but it's not the same sand that we purchased from like Osprey Aggregates. That's more of a coarse washed sand.
Right, beach sand doesn't work all that well. Does,
No,
but not well.
It freezes. What happens if you don't get that coarse stuff, that just falls apart in your hand and you get the sand that you can make a ball out of?
It's a little clay.
It freezes right up in that truck so quick.
So that Carlton property's not truly suitable for, at least for sanding roads.
I guess I would like to see a little bit, it wasn't bad, it didn't make a ball, but it was more, had more fines. But anywhere you can find a pocket of good sand, basically here and there, and we just need to find it.
Right. But we can also process the sand ourselves. It's not the least expensive thing to do in the world, but we don't need to be Osprey Aggregates.
No, and that's, you know, we don't want to do washed sand.
Right.
we're hoping to find some that we can probably just run through a screener that's, you know, say an 1/8 inch or 1/4 inch screen, you get, you know, whatever rocks. Usually I find that coarse stuff when you find more of a natural gravel. So you have to screen it to get the coarse material. But I've done it before at our old pit. We used to screen it and sell it to the town, saved a ton of money. Now we're right on with Ospey to get the sand.
Right.
And unfortunately, the pit on Sandy Knoll, pretty limited. Can't find that coarse sand there. Found a pocket here and there, but the pockets are so small. So
And we don't own that pit.
we don't. But
And
it was
what's your sand budget for the year?
So we don't have it broken out as sand budget, but I guess we could figure that out. That's one of the things I need to, yeah, I can certainly figure that out.
Because you don't get your salt from,
Now, there's only 2 places that we can get it in New
so
Hampshire.
we just need to add up the bills from last year for Ospey. That's really.
Yep, well, we go to 2 pits there too, you know, there's 2 pits that we go to, and so do all other towns around us as well.
Right.
You know, when we have a bad storm, there's 7 towns in the surrounding area all lined up at dump trucks getting the same time. And when one pit runs out or has a problem, we go to the other pit, and vice versa. But I'm sure we can figure that out.
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. I just had a couple of questions.
Bob, anything else?
You put your sand under winter maintenance? Does it
Yes.
just get, it just gets included in that line?
It does, yeah.
You can get that all itemized though for purchases.
Yeah, yep.
We can do that.
Anything else, Bob? Go get it.
All right.
Thank
Get
you.
it. Thank you.
Next up, we should have Steve Scapicchio and Kathy, I believe her name is pronounced Scapara, from the Merrill Lake Protection Association.
Yeah,
I don't
please
know.
come in this way.
Where
They're
at?
sneaking in
Oh,
from
there
the
comes-
back.
We're hiding in the back.
Is Kathy there?
Yep, Kathy's here and Laura is here as well. Nope, you're up to the table. No, yeah, no back, no back.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, no,
I'll
hold
go
on.
up and
Pull the
upstairs.
chairs right up there.
Yep. Here you go, Kathy.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
So, at the last meeting, we discussed the warrant article for the loan. Chip asked a series of questions, which I did not have the answers for. So after I left the meeting, I got a hold of Kathy, who then sent your questions off to FB Environmental, who's gonna be managing the project. This is Laura Demir, is that right? Deemer, from FB Environmental, and she will be managing the project for Merrill Lake Protective Association from FB Environmental. So she reached out to DES with the Chip's questions that Chip had, and I think Kathy's got a couple more
I
copies.
do.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Good, thanks.
Your questions are in black and their answers are in red.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to read through this already, but that's great.
Okay.
So I figured I'd bring them in case of more questions that I could not answer.
Sounds like high school to me.
It does, it does.
The test never had the question.
I flunked the test, so I brought in the reinforcements.
Back. Thank you.
All right, I guess, it answers the questions that were asked here, obviously, but we've never done this before, where we borrow money through a third party, or for a third party, like the Merrill Lake Protective Association. And it's because they can't get this loan?
Correct. Only towns are eligible for the principal forgiveness portion.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, they could apply for it, but then it would be a true loan.
Right.
and I'm not sure quite why that is, that would be another question for DES, but I do know that only municipalities that are the applicants can capitalize on the principal forgiveness. So this is, oh, sorry, did you have a question? This is,
I did, but I didn't want to interrupt.
oh, no, I was just gonna say it's, you know, we've worked with other towns who've been in similar situations. They're really just applying on behalf of another lake
But
association.
it's principal forgiveness.
Yes.
Is it an interest-free loan?
No, so that's where the Mirror Lake, the MLPA
Okay.
said, we will pay the
So
interest.
we need two agreements in order to make this happen. We need an agreement with Mirror Lake that's somehow enforceable to pay the interest. And when is that due? Is that due monthly or annually or?
Yeah, so, you know, it depends on how we would want to set up the project contract. So, you know, whatever you feel comfortable with. Typically, the projects that I've worked on, like right now, we're working with this loan fund, with the town of Wolfboro, so obviously your neighbors, for the Wolfboro Bay Watershed Management Plan. So, the Lake Winnipesaukee Association is involved in that, and the town of Wolfboro is the applicant. So the town has to be the money shuffler, right, between DES and the town, and the town pays us. So we've set it up with Wolfboro that, you know, we're continually working on the project. We send them a monthly invoice for the time and materials that were spent for that month. They have the means to pay us right away directly. Wolfboro does.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, I fill out the paperwork that they need to send to DES to request, DES, we need this amount of money. And within a month, DES cuts them a check back so that it's constantly keeping their coffers, you know, pretty much at balance, right? So alternatively, you know, if you're not able to, say, pay FBE for that monthly time and expenses right away, we can, you know, still send you invoices and those disbursement forms to DES, but you can wait until DES gives you the money, right, and then you cut us a check. So basically, you're serving as a middleman person. I mean, the level of effort is not huge. We fill out all the paperwork. It's really just, here are the forms, you just have your treasurer sign it.
Completion on any of these?
What's that?
Have you gone all the way to the end on any of these?
We have, yep,
And the loans are always forgiven?
yeah.
And what's the mechanism that allows the forgiveness?
So you'll have a DES person assigned to this project, and they're just kept in the loop by us through the whole thing, so that by the end of the project, there's no hiccups, right? We send in whatever the final report is, and DES is there to sign off and say, yes, everything that the scope of work said was done is done, and they clear out that $100,000 that was owed.
So, and I believe I sent a copy of the scope of work as well that listed the 6 things that were in
It's here.
the project.
Yeah.
And they're not, and you can look at them, and, you know, it specifically says what each of those things are that the MLPA is going to
And I
do.
remember reading through this, there was not a budget included, but I remember, but maybe I missed it.
No, at this, so, what we sent in is, what they call a pre-proposal or pre-application. So we have a narrative written scope of work, but no detailed budget. We just
I was actually
plug into the application that we're gonna maximize on the $100,000. You know, the scope of work that we wrote, you know, I had the budget in my mind, right, that this is $100,000 worth of work, to
Yeah, I
to
guess,
complete the project.
and the reason I ask is, it's $100,000 loan and $100,000 forgiveness, and the job ends up being $125,000.
No, we would have a contract
Okay,
with
but
you
that-
guys to say, we will do this work for
Right,
this
but
amount and
They're
no,
only gonna forgive the loan if the work's done.
right.
and you can't accomplish 100% of the work completion at $100,000, so what do? They're not gonna forgive the loan. We have to spend more money.
Yeah, so that's where the contract between the town and us would come in.
Right.
You know, when we set up our contracts, we say, we will do X, Y, and Z for this amount, and we're on the hook for that. So if it actually takes more, you know, we have to eat that cost because we told you that we could do this for this amount. So we've never had that issue in the past for these types of projects, where, you know, we've gone like way over budget or anything. But, you know, we'll have an agreement with you that we have to get this done for this amount. If we go over, that's on us, you know.
Yeah, and I appreciate your honesty about it, but we're gonna have to ask the taxpayers to take on $100,000 worth of tax debt. Really. Because if the state of New Hampshire decides next year, we're not forgiving loans anymore, we just borrowed $100,000, we gotta pay it back. Or the project isn't done to
I
this.
think if they give you the loan,
Yeah,
part of this project, they can't then decide they're not gonna follow through on it. So I think the whole thing resolves around, and that's why it takes so long for them to actually approve you for this loan. I mean, that money is accounted for. They can't approve more loans than they already have money for. So even if they decided next year that they're not gonna do that loan anymore, if we were approved, that loan is covered and that balance is there for us. So I don't think that's an issue, Chip. A lot of these, you know, organizations that do that, LCHIP, ARM, all that, the reason that you have to apply for these is because they have limited funds,
Sure.
and they have to stay within those limited funds. This is the same way. This is one of the reasons we didn't get it this year, is because they had already granted out all the money to what they consider higher projects than ours. So they said, no, we can't do it because it would have exceeded
the
the fund
difference,
balance.
and I appreciate where you're going on this, Steve, but the difference is the LCHIP, for instance, that's not a loan, that's a grant.
That's correct.
They're limited to the amount of money they give away because they only have so much money, and that's a grant system, which is real clean. So I guess my next desire would be to take a look at the loan documents run by council, and then take a look at the warrant articles that Wolfboro Road or whoever.
So,
So-
actually, Kathy has two of those samples.
I do, and, let me give you, this is language the two sample towns used.
Thank you.
This is the language they used when they were preemptively trying to pass a warrant article before the loan was actually
Right.
approved and in place. So, you know, the language is supposed to be,
Well, that's how we have to do it
if,
anyway.
right, like if this happens, you know, is this okay to proceed?
Because we can't sign on documents unless the voters say we can, so.
Right.
Is any of this time sensitive? Do you need us to act on anything today?
Well, the reason that we're here is because it helps us if at the town meeting, this warrant article is approved before we put the application in, because that goes to our credit. So when they review who's getting the money, if they see that the town of Tuftonboro has already approved their warrant article for this, it gives us more points towards the loan. So there's no, it's not time sensitive right now, Bob. It's, you know, it's time sensitive now so that if you guys agree to this, we can get a warrant article in the March meeting.
Right.
So that's where the time sensitivity comes in, is by the town meeting.
I'm okay with moving this forward.
Yeah, I'm not trying to block anything, I'm just wanna make sure we do it correct. I mean, cause the other part being is that we're borrowing money, so now we need a supermajority vote at town meeting.
Right.
So we need to have all our ducks in a row.
Explaining the procedure at town meeting is gonna be the key.
Yeah.
Because there's gonna be so many people confused by this that they're just gonna say no. I can tell you that right off. And we know what happens when warrant articles or, for example, ordinances are written vaguely or people don't understand it, they just automatically say no. So we're gonna have to explain this in super detailed, make it very plain and clear. And otherwise, our 160 voters are gonna say,
So do you have the example of the loan documents?
No, I don't believe we've gotten that far yet.
So maybe we could get a copy of that, just we could, I mean, we're borrowing $100,000 for all intents and purposes. It'd be nice to know what was involved in this mortgage.
I mean, we can definitely reach out to DES to see
Yeah.
if they have that, so that's not a problem. I can definitely make sure that we do
Because
that.
that would go a long way to having our chairman be able to explain the ins and outs of this deal. Or,
Well, I think this gentleman right here would do a better job of explaining
maybe.
what the project is.
right,
Basically, this is a continuation of what the Geosyntec project was.
That
It
is
is.
correct.
And,
It's the next phase.
It is
And
two.
I'm very familiar with that, of course, because
and we need to, sell. I mean, Steve can come in and try to sell the budget committee, but really it's up to us to sell the budget committee.
right,
Nice, all right.
good.
So other than see if we can get a copy of the loan documents, Chip,
Yeah.
that's kind of like the
Yeah, we just need to know what the conditions of the loan are. I mean, I know what you say they are, I'm sure you're being absolutely truthful. But, you know, we need to do things like run it by council before we put our name to it.
Know what we're stepping into.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we are obligating, and when are you gonna do this?
it would, hopefully we'd put a new application in next year. And then they would tell us sometime in the summer, I believe, that we get notifications whether we made the
So this
list.
could proceed over a 2-year period, let's say, getting the
Oh, definitely.
ducks in a row and get the project done. At which point, both Bob and Guy have run for re-election. Although Guy says he's not going to. But we're obligating a future board of selectmen. And so it takes a little bit of thought going forward. I mean, we can convince Bob and Guy of things.
Yeah, I
But we don't-
absolutely understand, and you should definitely put all your ducks in a row. From my personal experience in working with the towns, I just want you to know too that this is extremely low risk.
Yeah.
DES has never not forgiven these loans. There's not one single example where a project has not been completed and this has been forgiven. And I think Kathleen's, I think you had sent them some language from Wolfboro, who has an active loan right now.
Right.
We've
And
got
they-
Baltimore and
You know, they said the process has been so easy on their end, they've hardly, you know,
I did the,
not much that they've
had
had.
Tarpey's comments from the Lakeland Piscataqui Association and then
okay.
Jen Pinio.
I just encourage you
These are
to,
their
like,
comments.
you know, generally, I really, when I go to towns, I make sure that they're aware of this because it's really a tremendous opportunity. So, you know, just putting that out there too for other planning types of projects that if you have in mind, you know, we're coming here from the Mirror Lake perspective, but there's so many other things that this qualifies for, and it's really almost a free $100,000 that you can do so much with.
Sounds too good to be true.
It is, but it's true, and I love these projects, they don't have a lot of strings attached to them, the biggest hurdle is just getting, you know, it does have to
Now,
go through a warrant article.
You said it's an extremely low risk. You didn't say zero risk. What is the risk?
Well, I mean, if, you know, if you actually didn't do the work, right, then they can't, you know,
So when we
forgive
make-
the loan,
We make a
so.
contract with
Mm-hmm.
this company. We have to include bonding, because maybe they decide to run out to South America for whatever reason. We need to be able to get the project done in order to satisfy with that. That would get the debt forgiven.
Yeah, after that, so it could be like.
And I just do want to add, you know, FB Environmental is also the company that we're using on 19 Mile Brook. So we've had experience with dealing with FB Environmental now going on our 3rd year. So it's not even, not a risk for me, for that company. I mean, we've dealt with them, they've done everything that they're committed to, so.
Mirror Lake Protective Association vetted them before even approaching them.
I guess that was my only other question is, we're not gonna vote on anything to approve or disapprove this for the sole benefit of the Mirror Lake Protective Association. And they're not gonna be members of this project, they're just gonna pay the interest on this loan. But this has to be for the benefit of the town of Tuftonboro. It really has to. I mean, we don't operate, you're a non-governmental organization who really shouldn't have any influence on our financial decisions. So you're asking us, or presenting this loan opportunity to us, and we have to take their gift of the interest money in as a gift into the general fund. It can't be a quid pro quo for work done. That's my position on how we can make this all happen. I mean, I'm not against the project, not against Mirror Lake, I love the place, but other organizations may want us to do other things premised upon their particular needs, and we really need to balance our decisions on the town needs as opposed to.
So I think the way that I look at this, Chip, is that, yeah, Mirror Lake and the MLPA is one that brought this forward. But, you know, Mirror Lake is a benefit to the town, and MLPA is an organization that for the town is keeping that lake clean, and this plan is gonna help us do that.
Yeah.
So it's not, this is really not a benefit to the MLPA, this is a benefit to Mirror Lake itself. This is where we're working, is to keep that lake, our job as stewards is to keep that lake clean, free of cyanobacteria and free of everything else that could happen within that lake, which does benefit the town.
But at this table, you are our conservation commissioner,
Yes.
town conservation commissioner, so the direction of every project has to be for the benefit of the whole town,
Yes.
or elements of the town, if you will.
But the Mirror Lake Protective Association does encompass the watershed. That's 350 residents.
Yeah,
So
I know
it's
that.
bigger than, you know, it's not a personal interest for us. It is a town interest.
And I appreciate that, but, and I'm not gonna draw this out for a long time, but my problem with Mirror Lake Association is occasionally they overstep their authority and want the town to act only in the interest that they see appropriate for Mirror Lake. We can't be like that. It's sort of like when we were talking about the boat launch at Beach Pond. And there are people that came in that said, you know, we want to protect Beach Pond from motorboats. Well, our job isn't to protect anybody's beach from motorboats. It's to, in that instance, it was to protect public access to a great pond. So our interest has to be with the overall town interest, not just a selective group of people's interest,
Sure.
that's all.
And just to add another layer to that, is, you know, property tax evaluation and, or you know, the taxes that you get from property evaluations. If Mirror Lake's water quality were to further degrade, the valuation of those properties would decline over time, and so, you know, long-term, there'd be less potential revenue coming from that portion of town that would be benefiting all of town. So just from an economic perspective.
Yeah, and it would affect the people that own property on Mirror Lake a lot worse than it would affect the local taxpayers throughout the town. Comes back to the point of, it would be so much cleaner in my mind if Mirror Lake Association could get this loan and do this whole, and we just had to approve the act. But now we have to get into the finances and it gets a little more complicated, that's all.
I wish I could change that for you, but we can't. Unfortunately, it's a municipality loan that is forgiven.
I'm hoping that DES stays friendly in spite of my letters. We'll see how that goes.
Anything else for these folks? Anything else you'd
So,
like to add?
so our next step is to provide you the copy of the loan documents for the attorney, for the town attorney to
Yeah.
review.
Yes.
And then you wanna make clarification on what are the conditions of the loan.
And the loan documents should do all of that.
I
Okay.
would think so.
And then, is the rest with you, or do you need to see us again?
I think Steve can probably handle it. I mean, if
Okay.
we know what you're looking to do, we know what the
Right.
conditions are, we just need to know how to write a warrant article that satisfies it and feel comfortable as a board with the conditions.
Okay.
Should be good.
Call you if we need you.
Can't thank you enough.
And you're gonna have a new report on 19 Mile Brook, when?
February, I think we said January, February.
Probably February is the very latest. We still have one more sample round,
Yep.
and then we do have to wait for the labs to get back, and usually it's not till early January by the time we get November results back, so February at the very earliest. I had a March target, so we had at least a couple months with all the data to do our analysis.
Okay.
Great,
But thank you for your time.
good, thank you. All right, next up we have, Steve,
Yeah.
talk to
How
us about.
convenient was that? So I just wanted to touch bases with you on the Carlton property. I know the last time we talked about having an appraisal done on that. It's kind of difficult to do because it's not a separate lot. And we don't know where that line is gonna be drawn, so we can't get an appraisal until A, the lot is either separated or we have some kind of dimension on where that line is gonna go. So, that's a quandary I'm in now, so I tried to get it going and I ran into this and they said, well, what's the subdivision, what's the lot, where's the line? And I said, I don't know where any of that stuff is.
So you went to the planning board, is that where the?
No, I went to try, because at the last meeting, he said,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and get an appraisal, so when I tried to do that,
Okay, so the appraiser.
the appraiser said, well, I can't give you an appraisal until I know what the lot is going to be.
I thought we had a map of that.
Yeah, didn't we make some agreement about a surveyed line? I thought there was some talk of it.
That was to break out another section,
Okay, my mistake.
but we should have a map.
We do have a map, but I'm not certain that,
Well, it gives you the dimensions at least. It's something more for appraisal. Appraisals, it's not like a survey exactly.
right, but at some point in time, if we go forward, Carlton's gonna have to create a deed,
Right,
and that deed has
that's
to.
going to have to be exact.
Yeah, that's gonna be exact, so, and he's selling us something, so it's not up to us to create that exactness.
Right.
And that's the chicken and hen house problem, or fox and hen house.
Fox in the hen house, I think.
Now, we did get
Chicken in the hen house is okay. That's okay.
And we got an assessment from our assessor
Right,
already. So
yeah,
I presume asking Steve to do something else is just another,
Well, I don't know what that is, though. I mean, I have never really been, I've only been involved just on the outskirts, so I
Did you
don't
look at the
know.
drawings that
well,
we've been
no,
given?
we
No,
didn't
I have
ask
not.
Steve to do something else, Steve's looking to get a grant. The grant is only gonna use a licensed assessor or appraiser,
okay?
they're not gonna use the town assessor,
That's correct.
that's,
So they want
that's
a
where,
market value, not an assessed value.
right, that's where
Yes.
Steve's
Um,
roadblock.
We'll have to get you the map, which should be able to help you somewhat, I would think.
Yeah, maybe we just blast off an email to Carlton and say, let's establish that line. We know where 3 lines are, because,
That's the property line. It's
That's
that
the
one that's gonna go through the middle.
right, it's wherever that divisor is. that we
Let's
can-
do that.
Okay.
I thought he showed us something that had that.
He did, but I don't think it was exact enough for what Steve's,
Yeah, we need to know that when we're done, that is what the lot is gonna be. He's not gonna say, well, it's gonna move 15 feet this way, or it's gonna move 30 feet that way. This is where the line is gonna be.
right.
We'll get back to you.
Okay. The other thing is Cammie sent me a draft of the letter you sent to, not the draft, but she sent me a copy of the letter you sent to DES. And what I saw was missing in that was we didn't tell them that we've had this study for 3 years and offered to give that to them.
Where should have it?
They don't, and that was just between the town of Tuftonboro and the town of Wolfboro. So we drafted this letter up that says we have this study, we're more than willing to share it with you.
Well, I don't know that I want to modify the letter as much as I want to get a response.
Well, this would be an additional letter, and I can do it
Right.
either through the both of us or just as the Conservation Commission. And that's what I wanted to kind of run by you guys, is whether you wanted me to go forward with this. I didn't want to do this blind to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, obviously, I'm not gonna make a decision without my Brothers, but I'd like a little time to look at it.
There's no rush. Just my suggestion, in this way, we're telling them,
And I think maybe you're right, that maybe it goes in as a separate cover with it, as a Conservation Commission letter.
yeah,
Just to bolster the letter that was sent originally.
The one that you recently penned.
Right, which is essentially this without the sharing and without the
Right.
thankfulness. Right. Yeah, it's a little different because we're looking proactive steps and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Can I get back to you?
you absolutely can, Chip. I just wanted to bring it
Yeah,
up
we
to
meet
you.
again next Monday, so we should be able to,
Yeah,
let them know.
absolutely.
Yeah, and, you know, like I said,
I haven't heard, I don't think we've heard back from our friends at the Department of Environmental Security yet, have we?
Security, I would hardly not call them that, but
Even though it's been 2 weeks, we haven't heard anything, have we? So at some point in time, we're gonna have to follow up that letter with a letter from our attorney, because we're not gonna let it drop.
right.
And this idea that we're gonna start paying for that young lady's work is not a player as far as I'm concerned. We can talk about it as selectmen, but we did not create the problem. We are not gonna have to monitor the possibilities going forward. That's Wolfborough's ball. It's not ours. And the idea that from January 1st of 2024 onward, Tufton was gonna have to take care of 19 Mile Brook all on its own. It's not gonna happen. And if we have to sue to make it live, then that's what we're gonna have to do.
Again, I understand where you're coming from, you know, my concern is that we have to do something with that brook. I mean, we can't just let it go.
We have to get it done.
Yeah, we have to get it done. That's my only concern, Chip, as conservation, right?
Right.
That's my concern, so. And I just felt maybe doing it this way as part of just the Conservation Commission, sending out, we got kind of a neutral party just saying, hey, we got this study. You guys we're more than willing to share this information with you versus from your side.
I'm just
saying-
surprised that they don't have that information. I'm not, it wasn't my understanding when we started this project with the 3 years of study, that DES was totally off page. They weren't involved at
Yeah,
all. I mean, what good does it do for, you know, a non-regulatory agency with limited technical ability to have the information? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
you know, and honestly, that was prior to my part as the chairman.
Right.
But I think the intention was that if we saw something happening, then we can get DES involved.
But it's-
I think that was the mindset going forward.
I'm sure it was, but it's a matter of seeing.
Yeah.
And, I mean, your eyes said it's a lot better than mine, and you have a lot more technical ability than I do, but they're an agency that is tasked with knowing what's going on. So just,
Well, if this letter was to be sent, and then as soon as all the most recent information was available, and we sent them everything we have, unsolicited by them, they'd have it.
right.
They couldn't deny the fact that we didn't give it to them.
Well, yeah,
And then what do?
and then we're still stuck with getting to elicit a response from them, but I
Right.
think we can move forward on that.
Okay, so just, yeah, like I said, I just thought this was kind of a neutral way of involving DES.
And that's good. You shouldn't be in the litigious end of things.
Yeah.
You're on the conservation end of things, which is a good place.
All right.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Next up, we got Dennis Zalumbo with his Parks and Rec monthly update. All right. All kinds of things going on.
How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good.
All right.
I actually am having a wonderful weather.
So,
I'm just enjoying coming
Is
to
it
see you
COVID going
guys.
around, buddy?
Yeah, I know. How's the birthday boy doing?
Good, thank you. Another year around, I did.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Saturday. Another year around the sun.
I chose not to aggravate you with anything.
Just another day.
Remind you of such things.
I was just, let me first get a little maintenance out of the way. I guess it's over 20 years old, that playground. Look at the rest of them. See these pictures? Yeah. It just, Anyway, the safety problem, which I came to you guys for, has really moved forward. Zach did the trees, we rented the lift behind the sandbox, and got all the dead stuff off. I took care of behind the swings and stuff like that. Talking to Jim Beam, he's got a lovely tree coming November 9th and 10th to do the street side by the fence there on Middle Road. There's trees.
Yep.
It's almost odd. It's like dead tree, live tree, dead tree, live tree. And actually branches are going out into the field. So he's gonna take care of that. And Jim Beam also mentioned that as far as where that big gully is, where the pavement ends and it's kind of cracking, he's gonna take care of that. So I think the principal and whatever, the janitors are pretty satisfied with, you know, the way we handled that. So we're happy about that. I thank the selectmen for letting me maneuver the budget a little bit as far as not coming out of my budget, but the excess in other line items, to be able to take care of it, and we didn't touch the youth assistance.
Good.
So I think we're in good shape there.
Good.
Yeah, all the docks and swim lines are in. We're still working on the benches. We did have a community garden cookout. I don't know if you know that. We had about 25 people a few weeks back, September 30th.
Was it
actually.
vegan?
Huh?
Was it a vegan cookout?
It wasn't vegan, no, it wasn't. No, there was some good stuff there. Actually, I had a lot of stuff left over from the town picnic, so we used some of that stuff too. Yard sale, we had rain. We did have 35 families signed up. That was on the 7th of October. Some held it. We had 5 scheduled here. None of them showed. But some of them did it, some of it canceled, some went Sunday. So again, I think it's good doing it in October. We had pretty good success. The ballroom dancing with our gang from the general store, they didn't have enough sign-ups, so they're gonna move that to the spring. You're happy to know that commission has completed our budget, and I don't know if you got copies of it yet, but I think I'm presenting it maybe in a week or two here.
Yeah, I haven't seen it
Yeah, yeah. And it went from 67,000 to 75,000. I'll explain it at a later date. Our commission is actually meeting with the capital improvement group on Wednesday. I don't know if you guys are gonna be there, but we're presenting a few things: the bike trail, the beach parking lot, the right of way at Central Park, and then, of course, the playground problems. As far as the fall's concerned, we started men's basketball last Tuesday. Not a big turnout, but we expect more this Tuesday. We got shut out on the roller skating, so we're doing dodgeball. Last Thursday was the first date we had, and that's always a popular activity. Punt, pass, and kick is the 28th of October. We have 2 Halloween events. I don't know if you saw the flyer. So we have a dance party at the townhouse on the Saturday the 28th, and then the trunk or treat here on the 31st. Camp Belknap has committed, the police have committed, we have committed, so I'm looking for a few more trunks. We have a paint class October 25th up at there. And then an interesting conversation we had with Belknap. They want to get involved with us as far as before camp and after camp with their staff to do a number of programs that we should take advantage of. I'm talking archery, canoeing, paddleboard, pickleball, climbing, tennis, and it seems like they want to get out in the community and help us, so we're going to partner with them. And that's it.
Good, sounds good.
Well, and we'll need much more information on that, of course, as you know.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
It's fun. It's a fun job. You guys love what you do, don't you?
Yeah, we have a fun job too.
I know you
Most
do.
days.
Yeah.
Some days.
So we had a discussion last week about structuring these externally generated activities. So if you've got, you got a painting class, for instance,
Right.
it's gonna be at the townhouse.
Right.
And our understanding, or my understanding of how this works is the painter gets paid and keeps the money and uses the building.
Correct.
We need to be in that mix somehow.
Yeah, we talked about that, actually with each program we run, whether it be yoga or painting. And to sign up, I mean, I'm there, and I could take the money and take our share, but it'd be hard, cause I don't have consistent hours here for people who could actually do it or sign up online. So I know what you're saying, I've had that conversation with our treasurer too, about that.
Right.
I mean, we can work on that, that's,
I think you need to, and I think it could be you put it on the vendor. I mean, whether it's
yeah,
Aaron and David down there at the store, or whoever it is that's doing
yeah.
the activity up there, that, there's a, I don't know, building use surcharge or whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it.
I don't think we'll have a problem with it. I mean, my initial thought was when I first got here is to just get some activities going and get it going and make it
Right,
easy.
right. Yeah.
But I think we're to the point where we should do
Well,
that.
we gotta clean the building, we gotta heat the building, we gotta run
Correct.
pay the light bill.
Yeah.
What did Sue wanted to say
Yep,
something?
I'm aware, I'm just letting you finish.
I
So-
never finish, you know that.
These are events that are open to the community
Right.
that he's promoting. And I mean, how much money are we talking that we might get for revenue? I think, seems to me like it would be minuscule and irrelevant, that it's more important to get the event
Yeah,
and
no,
get people involved and.
That was my initial thought.
Okay.
Like I said, I think Jack, the treasurer, has brought it up to us and.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you have an event at the school, what do they charge you? Nothing. So that's a no cost at that particular venue. You might have electricity, air conditioning, and possibly heat for an hour or however long, whatever lasts at the townhouse for a town expense, right? The beach, you don't charge the bands to play, they don't rent the pavilion to play there, so there's nothing there.
Okay,
I think Sue's point is valid.
It's just,
okay, we're not looking for general fund income, that's not,
Exactly.
wasn't what we're looking at.
No,
He
but-
has a separate recreational fund that he can move money around or pay for things like concerts or whatever.
Right.
That's a finite amount of money unless you put some revenue into it. And so if you've got an opportunity to pick up $100 here, $100 there, it just makes other activities like sending kids to Texas for punt, pass, and kick, or providing skis for kids that want to learn how to ski at Abenaki. It provides them the ability to do more of that. That's all I was saying. I'm not thinking of it as a business opportunity.
It should be clear then that money goes back into.
Right.
Is revolving.
Absolutely.
it does,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Any revenue that you generate should go back into Parks and Rec.
Right, and you can put it on there as a Parks and Rec fee, or whatever
Right.
you wanna do. It may not ever do any of it, but I'm just saying we need to look at it,
Yeah.
because,
Like I said, Jack was at a few meetings ago, he brought that up, I think you were there too.
I missed that.
Yeah, okay. Actually, the next, we're trying to move the meeting, we got programs at 6 at school, so.
I'll try to remember to bring in the copy of Vibe magazine, which is a magazine that's published up in North Conway. And this last issue was all about mountain biking in
Really?
Conway, Bethlehem, Gorham,
Yeah.
all over the place, and has the names of the designers, and it's got the different foundations that the people have worked with, so I'll bring that in so you can look at that, because then there may be some opportunity
Yeah,
there.
no, I think,
Get some
actually
funding.
Audrey gave me some information on something she was involved in, right there, as far as grant opportunities, you can do that. Yeah, what's the plan?
Because they're spending a lot of money, and they're getting it from somewhere.
Right, anything else for Dennis?
Wednesday, 4:30, right? The meeting, Wednesday, 4:30.
Oh, at the library, this coming Wednesday, we're at 7, we're at 10 and 7.
He's talking CIP.
CIP.
Yeah, I'm talking,
Parks and Rec.
no, I'm talking CIP.
It's Wednesday, we're at 10 and 7,
Wednesday, 10, so-
yeah. I'm sure it's 7, but they want us 10.
Yearly.
Any other details we'd like Dennis to fill us in?
No, I think we got a few good members coming.
Oh, that's the other thing. We need to clarify who owns those moorings down at 19 Mile Bay. And the only reason I say this is because you're not gonna be around, I'm not gonna be around, Bob's not gonna be around, Dennis won't be around 20 years from now. When,
Well, we apply for it and pay for it every year.
and we have that all documented, like where they
Yeah,
are,
sure, yeah.
what we got a
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a big fee, it's, I think it's only $25 a mooring or $50.
Right, but when we
Yeah.
got the permit to put the moorings in, they must have said you could put them here. And
I
then
give them to the boat museum and they put them.
right, and now all of a sudden the boat museum thinks they've got some interest in the moorings. Tuftonboro owns those moorings
Yep.
forever, or until they come out. And
Right.
Wolfboro and the boat museum have no
Right.
ownership interest in those. And I think it just makes one little element of our relationship with other organizations clear, that's all.
Yeah, let's start, man.
Okay. Thanks for coming in, Dennis.
Thank you.
I'm gonna declare a 4-minute recess. My back teeth are floating.
It's gonna take 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, I guess, that's.
You want me to stop recording for that 4 minutes?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah, for what?
You're on.
I'll interrupt the schedule to allow Susan Weeks to present whatever it is she didn't come in for public input and didn't get on the agenda for.
I was here for public input, but I wasn't on the list.
You should have said something. You don't have to be on that list.
Well, I didn't think so, but you never,
You can be public and be known.
that's all right, I've learned a lot.
Good. What's up?
Agricultural Commission. I have to get my phone out because my printer died. And
The
I couldn't,
poor workman that blames his tools.
I couldn't print the thing I had prepared. Community garden update. We were contacted by the gardeners. You guys told us to stay away, let them do their own thing.
Now they want you back.
Well, yeah, they need us.
Well, there you go.
They don't have any money. They don't have a budget line. So they needed help with mowing the field out here.
If I might interrupt for a moment, thank you for blowing at least part of my selectmen's update.
You had an interest in
It
that,
gets worse.
I am the representative to the Agricultural Commission.
which does have a budget.
Yes.
We're not gonna give the Garden Association a budget.
No, we don't.
No, it's not
Pay
the point.
attention.
Okay, I'm paying attention.
I got worse news for you here, coming up.
That's worse.
Yes, so as a result of the contact, we did get invited to the community picnic they had, it was great. But some other things came up as a result of this interaction, that they didn't know that their dues were not set up to cover their expenses. Their dues just go right into the general fund. And they really shouldn't, they should be applied to agriculture, and I'll get to that in a little more detail. They didn't know that they were on their own to make their own decisions and everything. Nobody told them that, like we were told. So that's put them in a bit of a spin because they don't know quite how to do it. The money they've been collecting for the rent for the plots, Jackie's been handling and collecting it, and not issuing a plot if they don't pay, and all that has been something Jackie's been handling for them. So they have relied on her. They don't have anything themselves that they do.
Well, they used to when they had somebody else.
Some years ago they did, but no longer. So one comment was, we have no instructions from the town as to how we should operate. So, you guys authorized a purchase of a wheelbarrow for them to be paid for from the Ag Commission budget. Really? Do you do that routinely? Just say, oh yeah, here, we'll take this, buy that and charge it to this, without
We do.
mentioning it?
You did it routinely. I done it routinely. This board has done it routinely.
What routinely?
Taking money out of the budget to pay for something.
But without telling the group?
Who are we gonna tell? We don't have to, we have no reason to tell the gardeners anything.
What about me, that I'm on the Ag Commission?
The Agricultural Commission should be informed of what goes through.
Yeah,
So they should have asked you. And the whole system is broken.
but you guys said we had to keep separate.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, you did. You said for at least a year, we had to be hands-off.
I think what was said was, you don't get to, because you guys had just come into existence again.
Mhm.
The lots were all divvied up, or were in the process of it, and Jackie had some system going. And rather than upset the apple cart in the spring, we said, let this season play out the way it's playing out, and you guys create your agricultural commission and start from there. But obviously, from what you're reading, they want you. So that's.
Well, they have to, because they have no money.
They don't get to tell us what to do with the money
But they need
either.
hoses and nozzles.
Okay?
Who pays for
Then
that?
You create a budget, Sue, just like everybody else. You say, okay, it's gonna cost X to run the agricultural part of town,
Yeah,
and then you work off that budget. Any revenue that comes in, you don't get an account like the
yeah, you
Parks
do,
and
we
Rec.
do,
Actually, we do, by
We
RSC.
do.
You haven't set it up,
Not yet.
We-
okay?
we're gonna do it
Currently,
today.
You don't have it.
We're gonna
Today,
do it
we're
today.
going to do it.
Well, maybe
Okay.
you will, maybe you
So
won't.
that's gonna be a
Yes,
revolving
we
fund,
will.
right?
Okay,
The lot out here where they asked us to mow on the back end of the garden, which was the area where Spiderweb used to have corn and pumpkins out there. So they asked us to mow that, but then we're like, where's the boundary line? So Guy worked on it, I worked on it, the members a little bit, trying to figure it out. We did actually, we found a survey plan. And Guy and I went out and walked the boundaries, figuring out where they were. And then when we had we told them we'd pay for the mowing. And when the mowing was done, he mowed as much of the field as he could get. So, but the question is the Ag Commission gonna be in charge of that field now? I don't think we have any objection to being in charge of the field. We probably would look into uses for it, such as, right now, there's 2 plots rented here that are a couple of women handle, and all the food goes to the food pantry. So maybe we would open up a bigger section for something like that.
so I don't know how many people might have wanted a lot and were turned down.
Well, yeah, and there's that too, so
Maybe we need to grow.
with something to give thought to, whether that becomes part of the Ag Commission to manage that piece of land.
I wasn't a selectman when the
No.
town garden was established.
No, that was just, I wasn't a selectman either, but I was attending many, many meetings. The property was purchased for any number of purposes in the future, one of which was to expand the cemetery, for example. But in the meantime, the Board of Selectmen, at the suggestion of the chair lady, decided to open it up as a community garden plot, as a usage until it was needed for something of more importance, I guess we'd say. And that's how that came about. But the Agricultural Commission now is going to be involved much more with it, as you've already just heard. So you can expect to see a budget request coming that's considerably bigger than what we had this year. And Sue's got some more information on how that money is allotted, and it can actually roll over year to year, the budget.
Like
Yeah.
the Parks
It's
and Rec.
almost a revolving fund.
Yeah.
And it should be, an in and an out.
We've got,
You should be able to get some revenue to cover your expenses.
RSA 674-44, part of it states, "The town treasurer shall have custody of all monies in the agricultural fund and shall pay out the same only on the order of the agricultural commission. The disbursement of funds shall be authorized by a majority. The whole or any part of money so appropriated in any year and gifts of money received shall be placed in an agricultural fund and allowed to accumulate from year to year." So it seems to me, the money from the plots goes into that fund, as well as anything that's left in our budget at the end of the year.
Well, that's another question altogether. Because that's not a gift.
It says any part of money so appropriated in any year,
Right.
and gifts of money received. So, anyway, I think, the end of the year is coming up. We need to figure out what all this means. I think clearly it would mean the plot money would go in it.
Yeah, the garden should be self-funded.
You think? Well, yes, and it isn't, it probably is, but it's not
It's not
direct.
organized.
It's not
No.
organized.
And the funds that come from it aren't available. They
There
go in
was,
the general fund.
almost $1,400 taken in on those plots this year,
There you go.
and that would pay for the hoses and nozzles that they need.
Right.
What
You
is
can put a
the,
wheelbarrow.
Mowing,
what's the proposed budget for agricultural?
don't have that yet.
We don't have it
There
yet.
was-
You said you had a
This
bigger-
last year was $600.
But you had a bigger number in mind. What's that number? Do you have some idea?
We haven't,
No?
I haven't set that out
we
yet.
haven't
but-
sat it out yet. Because we gotta get prices on the hoses, so if we wanna give them hoses. You know,
All right.
and I don't know if you need to go retroactive on any of that,
Go retroactive on what?
on the money that's been coming in, that's been into the general fund instead of in this special fund.
Any reason we just can't start
We haven't
clean
voted on
in
it.
Well, I don't know.
2024?
Huh?
Any reason we just can't start clean? in
Just the
2024?
wording in the statutes.
Yeah, we still have to enact, vote on it. It doesn't just because it's,
Just because it's the law.
absolutely. Even if it's a RSA, we still have to join in on the fund. It's sort of like when the federal government passes a law. The states don't automatically pass a law to match it, but they sure get, they get the ball rolling. Doesn't happen
I
automatically.
don't know, it just seems like when you set up the agricultural commission, you have to abide by the state rules, guidelines.
Okay, you find the minutes for the establishment of the agricultural commission, which states this RSA, and I'll agree with you, but you didn't.
Do you have to state the RSA?
Absolutely.
Oh,
If you're
boy.
gonna establish the commission and enact these rules to govern it, then state the RSA. You're stating the RSA today, that's fine. We'll start putting money in the account that you establish with the treasurer. We're not gonna retroactive anything, I'll tell you that. I mean, these two guys may want to, but this guy, it's not gonna happen.
No, I think you should, if you're gonna do this, you gotta do it right and then just move forward, not go
Well-
backwards. Learn from our mistakes and move forward.
I think that when the state enacts a law, the citizens are bound by it. That's my point. And we've not been aware of this and haven't been abiding by it.
Okay, so if you're unaware of the law, then you're still,
Ignorance of the law is no excuse.
That's right, that's right.
yeah, all right.
So I think we need to begin right now
Sure.
with this, and we need to get this year's money put into a fund.
No,
Minimum.
that's a retroactive act, Sue, and I'm gonna vote against it. If you wanna go forward with starting a fund, you don't have a place to put it. You do not have an account.
Yeah,
I
we
can
do.
get an account.
Did Jack start one for you?
It
Of course you
says,
can get one.
our budget is the account.
No, that's the general fund. So we're not gonna put, that's what Sue doesn't wanna have happen. She doesn't wanna have that money going into the general fund to be spent in your budget.
Which it already is. Any money
Which
that
it has
you,
been.
any money that you've
So-
taken in for 2023 has already been deposited and is already there.
Right.
I will support moving forward with this, but I'm not gonna support
Just
going
like Parks and
retroactive.
Rec, you have your own checkbook, your own account, and the
I
treasurer
didn't
writes
make
a
up
check.
this rule. This rule's been on the books for a while, and the town has been oblivious to it. And ignorance of the law doesn't mean you don't have to comply with it. Hello?
We are gonna get in compliance.
Yes, and
That's
I
all,
think you should start with the beginning of 2023
that's your motion, but
and put that money in there, and that will cover what they need for the hoses, I hope. And if we get them now, they probably cost less than they will
I'm
in the
gonna make a
spring.
motion that the selectmen direct the agricultural commission to establish an account, a revolving account for monies coming into the agricultural commission.
I don't know what a revolving account is.
Fiscal year 2024.
I'm just saying they're gonna establish an account.
Okay.
Nothing is gonna happen until we vote.
I'll
I
second
don't care
that.
what the state of, call the AG up, tell them to close us down, we're not following the law. But nothing happens until these three people, or two of these three people agree.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll abstain.
So-
All right, now you have the authority to go to the treasurer and set up an account to receive money. That's the first step. You're not gonna get any money from the back end of things, because we've already taken it in, and it's sitting in our general fund, and you're spending money out of the agricultural commission budget. If you need an additional $300 over what you've been budgeted, we'll find the additional $300. We've gone over budget on any number of occasions. I remember doing it with you. We went over it together.
Or you can create your own warrant article by petition and submit that for your money to be deposited.
Oh, I don't think that's a warrant article issue. I think it's a legal issue, actually. But I could do
To
that.
take money out of the general fund?
Yeah, where are we gonna take
Based
it?
on this, the state laws, as they're spelled out right here, they've been in effect since 2007.
Yeah, but you want to take money out of the general fund.
Yeah,
We can't.
I want to take the money that was given to the town for the agricultural use out here
Mhm.
right.
and put it in a fund,
Yeah.
like it's prescribed.
And that's
here.
exactly what's gonna happen going forward. It's not gonna go, because, okay, we don't have the authority to do that.
To do
Sue.
what?
To
Take money out of the general
out of the
fund.
general fund to put into a separate account like
You
this.
don't have the authority to take it in the first place.
Of course we do.
No, you didn't.
Why? Then maybe
But
we
I
should
think-
give it back to the customer.
I think if you want,
Maybe.
I think if you want the money that's in the general fund that you took in 2023 to go into this fund that you're gonna create, I think that has to go to the voter. And the only way to do that is a petition warrant article,
Well,
because I'm not gonna support
I
it.
totally disagree with this, but I'll pursue it a little bit and give you some more information on it.
It would be wonderful to have more information. I just am not ready to go retroactive with money. We're in the middle of budget discussions currently. I mean, if you think it's that much money, then maybe you don't need an increase in the agricultural budget for this year. Maybe you'll have it on
In that fund,
user fees. I mean, I'd rather encourage it than discourage it.
Well, okay, just saying that it's possible that we've been in violation of the law since 2007. And it's possible that all of that might have to be revised and looked at. I don't know. It seems to me that when I see a state law that's in effect, I need to comply with it.
Okay,
And this year isn't over yet, the fiscal year hasn't ended, there's still ability to correct mistakes. That's what I'm thinking, that it was a mistake to put it in the general fund rather than in
We're talking,
an
how much
agricultural.
money we're talking.
Not a lot.
$1,400?
$1,400.
Yeah, but because we didn't put it in the general fund as a board of selectmen. This was done independently. The tax collector did that.
Well, she collected a fee. She collects fees all the time. The town clerk does as well. I mean, there's certain money that we don't have any control over, it just happens. The betterment assessment for Willand Road, you know, that comes into the general fund as well. I don't know if it has any other place it could go. If we get a grant from someplace, we put money into the general fund from a grant.
Some of them, yeah.
I'm just not, I'm not prepared to.
Well, I think what Sue was suggesting was a mistake was made and we should correct that mistake. But whether we can do that legally now or not, I don't know.
And I'm not really ready to say there was a mistake made. Agricultural Commission didn't exist until you two guys decided you wanted to restart it. Sue Wingate was not the agricultural commissioner.
There was a whole board of them.
Yeah, but they never brought this forward in the last 9 years. So,
Well,
Maybe they should have.
I guess you're right. Their inadequacies or ineptitude got us into the spot we're in, so to speak, and here we are. But
And I think we've taken the action to correct it. Okay, you brought the issue forward to us, and we gave you the authority to create the account and moving forward. It's been corrected. I think that's the right action.
I don't think that, I don't know that the selectmen have that authority to give, but maybe you do. I'll take it.
okay, no one else in town has financial authority. I don't give a shit about the RSA. The only people that can affect financial decisions are selectmen and occasionally the budget committee. So we have to be involved in it somehow. And if we weren't presented with it until today, how could we take action? I mean, if you brought this forward in April, we may have proceeded differently.
Obviously, none of us knew about it in April.
Right, right. I'm not,
So we made an honest mistake in April.
yeah.
I think it's fixable for this year and going forward. I don't think I need a warrant article to
Well, how
obey
do
the
you,
law.
how do you extract money out of the general fund?
Well, she needs a warrant article to do that.
Exactly, that's my
But
point.
to create this new,
I can overspend the agricultural budget, I suppose.
you can, with our authority. You can't do it sua sponte. You have to ask, and we have to decide, because we are the financial managers of the town. But what they're asking to do is create a fund, and that's fine, that's perfect. Now it's not even gonna hit the general fund.
Right,
It's gonna stay where it belongs.
right.
Yeah. But going retroactive, I don't think you got 2 votes here, so if you wanna call the
I don't
attorney
think it's a-
general, that's fine.
I might, because I don't think it's,
Yeah,
needs a vote. I think it's the law, and that's the way it needs to happen.
well, then we will respectfully disagree.
well,
But if you can.
we can agree to let the Agricultural Commission pursue the legal aspects
But yeah, absolutely.
and find out. And if in truth we can do something retroactively, then we might.
We might.
But we need to know for sure, that's all.
More importantly, we need to have a structure going forward for the.
And we're trying to do this because it's never been done before, obviously.
Right.
Yes.
And also, this year, do you need hoses this year?
No, but I'm thinking if we could get them this year, they'd be cheaper than trying to buy them in the spring.
Okay, so then you need to bring that request forward, and we'll spend some money on hoses, I guess.
Maybe. We'll
And we
work
have
with that.
storage for, all other needs are accommodated for. You got a wheelbarrow out of them.
They got a wheelbarrow. I
And they
don't know
got,
where they
and they
store
got
it.
mowing done.
And did they get the pile of mulch spread or
I think
whatever
that
it
was
was
done a
out
long
there?
time ago.
No, it's still up there.
Oh, Jesus.
We
We were talking about that in springtime.
He mowed around it as much he could, but it's this deep of,
And it's,
Oh, I think he just pushed it off the pavement.
yeah.
right, so to plow.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess I haven't seen the agricultural commit, other than Sue's visit today, which was not on the schedule, but I haven't seen the agricultural commission on the schedule. Should we have
We're
Karen?
not on the schedule for budget and all that,
Yeah.
right? We haven't gotten any notice.
I think we're in other, listed under other conservation, if I remember
We
correctly.
meet again on November 1st or 2nd.
I was trying to look at my updated budget,
How's it going?
not real good.
Well, agricultural says your budget's due the 18th
Of what?
this month,
Oh,
10/18.
how do I know that?
2 days.
You're not gonna get it.
How do I know that?
And then,
Did you send those out? You sent me one of those?
I sent you both.
Okay, at any rate, let's meet again and come up with, when you have your budget, you're not meeting again till the 26th,
The
right?
first,
Oh, the first?
November 1st, I think.
Okay, so it'll have to be, and
No, oh,
31st, October
November
31st?
7th. First.
Oh, 7th, yeah.
It'll be November
You sent a
7th.
calendar.
I made your schedule the same as cemetery, so you only have to come in once, but we can change it based on,
yeah.
Isn't that also November 7th? Oh,
that's 10/23.
But we should be able to have a budget from your commission at that next meeting at least.
yes.
And maybe a list of if you have needs for this year.
We'll meet, but cemetery and ag will meet on November 7th. And we're doing our budgets on both of those.
Okay. So after the 7th, the next Monday after the 7th, whatever that is.
It'll be the 13th.
13th.
That's not
Monday,
Friday.
the
Okay, so I can swap out cemeteries and agriculture for parks and rec because that's ready.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Right.
yeah, then so can you feel confident on the 13th, you'd know if there was anything you needed out of this year's purchasing for the Ag Commission?
I hope so.
Okay. Just so that you have an ask on that end of things as well as your budget.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Not. Have a good one.
All right, let's move right into the signature file. We have one document to sign. Board of Adjustment are recommending we appoint Janice Williams as an alternate to the Board of Adjustment. Term to expire in 2026. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Do any of us know her? I don't.
I could tell you, I don't know hardly anyone
Well,
in any of these.
I mean,
Why don't we call our tax collector, who's the secretary of the Zeton zoning board, in here for a brief minute?
Is she here?
Not on Monday.
Not on
She's not
Monday.
here? Well, I guess
No,
that
I'm
answers
fine,
that.
as long as,
Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
It's an alternate to the ZBA.
right, and she's a resident,
Yes.
I'm fine.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
I'll pass the whole thing. All right. Under action items, we have a reminder from BEA, broadband at livefreenewhampshire.gov. Deadline reminder for broadband matching grant initiative applications. Have you read that?
No.
No, not yet. It's a pretty quick read.
Yep.
I'm not aware that we were even looking at getting a broadband grant.
Well, not a matching grant, because we haven't got,
No. Nice of them to let us know. Under correspondence, we have an issue that we're going to talk about in non-public. Horizons Engineering has added an addendum to the bid package for Union Wharf. We've all seen that, I presume. The DES,
We'll be opening those next week.
yes. DES has sent us a notification about our permit for our landfill, transfer station, keep running.
And we're in compliance.
We have a year-to-date library update. I'd like to think we should have Dennis come in.
I thought he was coming in quarterly and I'm not,
I haven't seen him at all.
I haven't seen him.
It'd be good to have a little bit of a presence. Why don't we request him to come in next meeting? Would you do that, Cammy?
Mm-hmm.
They're also presenting their budget next meeting.
Oh, then he will be here.
How convenient.
We have a wetlands permit by notification. These come through the town clerk. They go to the Conservation Commission. They write down any concerns that they have, and this is one that they've seen already. That's correspondence for the moment. Town Administrator and Selectmen's update. Let's go with Town Administrator, come right up. Please, Augie. Tell us all kinds of good news.
It's an updated budget to actual.
Oh, wow.
Thanks.
I can distract him with that and then just get permission for other things. I have 2 more weeks left in my financial policy courses, and I'll be a certified municipal finance, whatever. Yeah, and the NHMA annual conference is November 15th and 16th, and unless there's any objection, I would like to go to that.
What is that again? I'm sorry.
NHMA, it's their annual conference.
Okay.
I've identified a couple welfare and human resources tracks that would be helpful.
Got money in the budget to cover the,
I think so, yeah.
that's good.
And no pushback on the budget schedule?
No. I'm actually quite impressed by all your department managers getting them in on time or ahead of time.
And we've been screaming at them for decades, so that's a good thing.
That's the truth.
I'm trying to find.
What?
The agricultural.
Okay, go to the
Last
back
page.
page under other conservation. And that number for the balance is gonna be reduced by $400 right shortly, because that's what it costs to do the mowing that they asked.
$400.
Yep,
So you got $185 left.
yes. And that should be carried forward once the,
Or let's spend it on hoses.
we can, partially.
I'm not a real fan of this carry forward stuff. Because where do you put it?
In the fund you
In
just
the revolving
approved.
fund.
In the fund that
So
we're,
we're not carrying it forward, we're actually moving it into the fund.
at the end of the year, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're
Jack
zero-
won't be
so
able
that-
to open a fund until he has something to put in it.
So that zeroes the budget out every year on the agricultural
Right.
commission. Okay. So there's no carry forward. And Jim was sort of unresponsive about the, how do we grant money that he's looking at, or
Well, you said that
relief money?
Yeah, Adam's the guy.
Yeah,
Chief
Adam's
is
working
managing.
with Dana.
Cause we're $21,000 upside down right now on the streets. And it's gonna snow someday.
Oh, yeah, we got winter coming.
Yep.
So we need to, I mean, he's showing a positive balance in winter, but it's, so upside down in summer and spring that obliterates it.
And we're not done yet.
No, we're not. And so I guess we need to talk to Adam sometime.
I recently saw an email that FEMA had approved to go forward with the storm, and I believe he's doing the paperwork on it. He's submitting everything. You probably won't see any funds this calendar year. It's FEMA.
And then that goes in the general fund anyway, if I'm not mistaken, unless it's specifically stated that it goes for this exact purpose.
Right, but we have generally held that kind of thing in a separate column.
So this is
We haven't just thrown it into the undesignated
back there,
fund
the
balance.
work that we've done.
I guess we have to see where, that's how we end up, I think we got $60,000 in the ARPA money or whatever it was first.
That's different. That's a grant. That's,
And
yeah.
tomorrow,
Right.
if you want, you will.
Yeah, grants and-
Wednesday,
Yeah.
that's
Interesting.
And I don't think we can just take ARPA money to replenish the,
No,
uh,
that's very specific.
yeah.
No, we might be able to use it to help
Well, we did
make the building
paving,
bigger.
we did some paving with it, so I think we can probably.
Yeah, it is,
do
there's
that.
infrastructure stuff.
Infrastructure's okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, again, that might help.
The police station.
If you
No,
get creative.
I wasn't thinking of that, build a bigger.
But you've talked
You're
about it
right,
last
we
week.
have talked about it.
October's coming, I guess we're in the middle of October. We generally set the tax rate in October. When are we gonna do it?
We're waiting for DRA to get back.
Rod asked me about that today.
Yeah.
Okay. And we can get clarity on what we do have in the undesignated fund balance for that same time. We have the ability to
I think so, yes.
affect taxes with that money,
Right.
so. And they're gonna.
I'm trying
we
to
need
set up
s- We need to set the tax rate
soon.
pretty
Yeah.
soon,
Yeah.
So.
or the tax collector is gonna be
That's what we-
noisier than
Yeah.
she generally is. All right.
Wow.
Doesn't this put the cart before the horse if we're setting the tax rate now and we're budgeting and we haven't finished our budget for 2024 yet?
The tax rate is for 2023.
Yeah,
You're budgeting for 2024, but the tax rate that
Yeah,
gets
you're
set
always-
covers this past
so
year.
next year's taxes are always based on this year's
Okay.
numbers, because you can't, you don't know.
And
what-
July's tax bill is based on,
Right.
and then it's cleaned up in December, so to speak, right?
July's is
With the new tax
2022.
rate?
No, the tax rate that we set in October.
Yeah.
Well, maybe August, it's all the same.
No, go ahead. Cover, in October, will
Tax rate
cover
was set in October.
2023.
Okay, but we've already billed for taxes in July, but you say that's at the
That's
2022.
only half, no?
And it's half, yeah.
It's basically the second half of year 2022.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or was that much?
It's not a calendar year, it's,
No,
it's offset.
Yes.
Okay.
But we do have the ability to impact 2024 taxes this month,
So, where we are.
and that's another slide.
And that's kind of where I was going, because we don't know what the budget's gonna look like yet for 2024.
All this is, we're just looking at revenue when we're talking taxes. We're not talking expenses. So we estimate the other revenues, and we did that already, I think.
Yeah, and that's what
And
we're-
now, DRA will send us what our taxes are gonna be. But we get to say, nah, that's too much. We're gonna take $100,000 out of undesignated fund balance to make that rate lower. That's our impact on that tax rate. But we need to do that in October. I'm sorry, I've
Yeah,
interrupted you.
that's good. So I'm trying to meet with the treasurer, hopefully that'll happen this week or next at the worst case, for me to understand the funds where the undesignated funds are and how the different accounts like recreation, how all those are monitored and balanced, and then I'll probably come forward with some recommended policies based on the courses I've been taking. Because I haven't found, but the selectmen should be approving an investment policy every year. I don't know if you do that, I haven't
I
found.
don't know that we've ever done that.
Yeah,
I think
you're
the,
supposed to every year.
Trustees of the trust funds hire,
trustees and the trust funds
hire an outfit to manage those funds for us.
That's different than your undesignated fund balance. I mean, that should be earning revenue and,
Right, and it is, I believe, I think the trustee of the trust fund takes care of that, but we don't. I've
no, the
never-
trustees of the trust funds don't take care of your unassigned fund balance. The
It's not
treasurer
in there.
does.
Oh, the treasurer.
You
I
don't
knew
have a-
somebody
And
did.
you don't have a deputy treasurer,
No.
but the treasurer should be presenting you with how he's investing every year, and you should be signing off on it.
So,
So we'll set some of those policies up going forward.
this is just,
And he should know how much money's there,
Let's hope.
that's all. Cause I don't agree with the audit number, but I'm just disagreeable, that's all there is to it.
so basically nothing's
I
removed.
was gonna say, that's my experience in other towns, the way audits are read and the numbers that are there.
Yeah.
I have to finish up the budget minutes, and I need to meet with the budget committee chairman because some of his requests of how to present things, I can put them into MutiSmart, or I can do it in my spreadsheet. I don't feel like I should be putting all my time into maintaining two systems.
Right.
So he wants to see percent completes and what the selectmen voted on each budget. I can't do that in MutiSmart. So we'll have a conversation on what I'm capable of doing and how he would like it. So that needs to occur before next week. The budget committee, I believe, meets next Tuesday. Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to set a non-public meeting to do employee reviews for people like Jack and the police chief and fire chief, because as you're looking at their budgets, you would be the one to change the step increases and
Which we already did for Jack, for example.
you didn't give him a step increase, you gave him a 3%. So if,
Oh, no.
You know, we gave us stuff, cause
Be a grade and step.
yeah, we went up a different grade.
So.
the one you just did for 2024,
Yes.
We went from, he was at the end of 17 and somehow he got moved up to the 6th line.
To make the numbers he requested work out, that's where we ended up, we're roughly there. It's kind of in between the two.
Which is just a couple of dollars above the 3%. We did the math.
all right.
Yep.
So you gave him a step, but, the 3%, but it's based on the chart.
Okay.
Remember, you told us that you came up with a number that was very close to the 3% on that chart. So technically, we gave him a step,
Get more than a step.
more than a step.
Well,
That's-
if you did 3% on last year's salary, this year's salary would be $72,000 and you're giving him $75,000.
Exactly. And where it fell on the chart was where I had it, so.
Okay. I'll review what I thought I did.
You can always vote again.
Right, that's what I figured. The, community meeting that Moulton Borough Town Administrator is putting together, he's looking for topics that the communities may want to discuss together. So if you have topics, I can move them forward. And
Ambulance.
It's really the big one,
Yeah.
yeah,
ambulance service.
and then Cammy and I are working together to come up with a schedule, because I don't wanna work 10-hour days, I would rather work like 5 7s, and so to make sure the office is covered all the time. My clock isn't working into what Kathy and Cammy were doing, so we're coming up with a revised schedule. And as long as Cammy's taking minutes right now for her, when she does a nighttime meeting, having like Wednesdays off, that Wednesday would keep her in her 35 hours. And then when there isn't an evening meeting, having just Wednesday afternoon off. So we're looking at that kind of schedule.
But we're still looking for a person to take,
We are, I
Minutes, right?
posted it on a couple of Facebook pages.
so if she's got 35 hours worth of work in her office, why are we taking away from that for her to do minutes?
Because you don't have anybody else to do it.
The point being, the hours.
Mhm.
Shouldn't we just be paying her the money, keep her 35 hours in the office, and paying her to come in and do minutes above and beyond her 35 hours?
You can't have two jobs.
We're already over on
You
administrative
have to pay her
overtime.
overtime to do that, and I agree to the
And
overtime.
overtime hits over 40, correct?
And
But we're only 39% on clerical assistant, whoever that may be.
I think that's your minute taker.
You just understand the point that I'm trying to make,
How
right?
can we be 39% used if we don't have a minute taker? It's Cammy doing it.
Because we're not charging her to two lines, two separate lines.
I understand.
We're asking her to do something that's above and beyond her regular duties, her regularly assigned duties, which is fine, and we're grateful that she's doing it. But I think that she should be able to spend her 35 hours in there and get extra for coming in to do minutes.
The minute taker is scheduled at a lower hourly rate, so you're running into your budget, how much money you have. So,
yeah, I don't think you can make two jobs, you can't have two jobs at the same employer. You're hired, you get paid a certain rate, and that's your job. If you want extra hours out of the employee,
That's where overtime comes.
yeah, that's overtime at her hourly rate. There's no way around that.
But let's let the girls figure out their schedules, have a look at that, and go from there. Let's not panic yet.
Now let's keep working on trying to get somebody in here.
Absolutely. Well, I've noticed it's been advertised on social media, for example, that we're looking for someone. Apparently it hasn't produced anyone yet,
not yet.
so we'll see.
And I've had 3 people come in for general assistance, and 1 was granted, 1 withdrew, and 1 hasn't returned the application. That's it.
Okay.
So do you want to set up a non-public for employee reviews?
Yeah, we haven't gotten their department reviews yet, though. I don't know how that we can,
Right.
I mean, the
Okay.
police chief needs to supply us with the review.
All right, so after you get their employee
Right,
right.
reviews. Okay,
We've asked the police chief, the fire chief, and the transfer station superintendent, well, we've actually basically told them, if they want to increase compensation, we need a review of the employee telling us why.
all right.
Till we get that, we really can't
And if
set
they,
anything up.
and if they don't do their reviews on their people, it affects their review on them. So
Right.
I guess we should be doing them after they present their budget.
All right, you do have a couple individual contributors, like the building inspector and rec.
Yeah.
So you want to wait on
Right.
those?
Well, we
All right,
can do that.
at the same time. Or you want to do,
Well,
I don't know how many employee reviews you want to do in one meeting.
we basically just did it with Jack.
Okay,
Well, we still have to go through.
yeah, you should still.
If you want to go through the procedure, we can.
Yes.
Do we want to have the non-public with, well, Audrey's here?
I'm not suggesting today.
No, this is a different thing. All right, well, we can do that and then come back to Selectmen's updates if you'd like.
Or we can do selectmen up. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Mine's pretty short too.
All right, mine is too. We'll do that and then we'll just have it.
Okay. Mine is I went to the Abenaki Tower, historical road sign
Sign dedication.
dedication with any number of notables. It wasn't on the road though, so it's not really a road sign, it's a historical marker. I'm gonna spend some time on the solar file this afternoon, I guess, now that it's 10 minutes to 12. And I did do it right around, that was what surprised me about having the people from Shirley Way on the schedule this morning, because I rode around that and it seemed like it was a whole lot better than it had been, and seemed to have done well. But I guess there's no stopping. That's it.
Yeah, pretty much the same thing. I didn't have any meetings last week. I went to the dedication, which was a nice dedication, well done. Nothing.
I'll be meeting with the Conservation Commission tonight. Sue Weeks basically brought forth all the concerns that the Agricultural Commission had. Again, we had a compliment on the road work that was done so far in Tuftonboro Neck. That's about it. Now I'd make a motion that we go into non-public, 91A. I'm going to call it reputation because I don't know the numbers.
Right.
All those in favor of Pike Eye?
I'll second.
Yep.
Murray, aye.
I'll be on.
All right.
They're back on.
Oh my goodness, gracious me.
Are we back live?
Yes.
Is there any other business we need to discuss?
Can't think of any. I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Done.